The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Lauren Levine. Many of you know me as the Digital Dentist. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's webinar. We've got a great topic. Our speaker, Cheryl Canhigh, has been with us a few times in the past. We've always had really great response to her webinars and her lecturing style, and I'm really excited to have her back. The other good news is she told me that tonight's webinar is definitely going to be more on the shorter end of the scale, more to the point, which I think is great. That's another reason I love having Cheryl on, is that she really gets to the meat of her presentation, and there's really no sales pitch here, and I think you're all going to enjoy that as well. We did have a number of people that were registered. I see a lot of people logging in right now as well. I'm only going to speak for a minute or two to introduce Cheryl, then at that point I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her. Any of you who have been on the webinars in the past are probably very familiar with the format, but basically the way it works is that you have a little GoToWebinar control panel on your screen. You can go ahead and type in your questions as you think about them. We're probably not going to get to the questions until Cheryl's done speaking, but she'll normally answer any questions that we get in the order that we get them. So as you think about it, just type them in, and we'll make sure that we get to those at the end. When you log out, there's a really short 2-question survey. Would you like Cheryl to follow up with you? Would you like me to follow up with you? You can answer yes to both of them if you'd like. Either one of us will make sure that we follow up with you if you indicate that as well. As many of you also know, I do record these webinars, so you will get an email later this evening, tomorrow at the latest, with a link that you can download and record and listen to the webinar at your convenience. So, don't worry if you have to take a phone call or you get distracted, but you won't miss anything. We'll make sure all of those go out as well. So we're going to be talking about practice management software tonight, and one of the things that I've always felt is really critical, and this is not true just for practice management software per se, but for any type of technology that we put into our practice, is that there has to be a bottom line. There has to be return on investment. Technology for technology's sake isn't really beneficial to most practices. Yeah, it's great to have all the latest and greatest in there, but if you're not utilizing it properly, you're really kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And of all the things that you have in your practice as far as an ROI generator, in my mind, there's nothing that comes even close to practice management software, because it just allows you to get into the data, to get the data that you need, and to obviously make decisions based on that information. Now, even though I did practice for 10 years, and I feel like I am a little up to speed on most practice management software, our speaker tonight is really an expert in that whole field, and that's Cheryl Canhigh. And Cheryl's president of Maxident Software Systems. They make a program called Maxident Practice Management Software. She joined the company back in 1999, so she's been there a while, quickly rose through the ranks from sales rep to sales manager to general sales manager, and then she took over for the entire company 3 years ago in 2011. Over the last 15 years, she's advised probably around 1,000 dentists in implementing dental software systems to improve office efficiencies, increase productivity, and, as we talked about, boosting your income. Her dedication to Maxim and its clients means that she spends many hours and a lot of energy providing new products and services to further enhance dental offices, and she continues to maintain a close contact with the Maxident's family of software users to make sure that they're very happy with the product and make sure that they're satisfied. She really is a recognized subject matter expert. She plays a key role in driving the company forward and constantly strives to keep Maxident moving into the future. So, Cheryl, it's a pleasure to have you back here, and we're looking forward to tonight's presentation.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Thank you very much for that introduction. And as Lauren stated, I am going to basically have this webinar short, to the point, and I'm going to move through this and I'll probably tell you in certain areas where to take notes and make notes, because it's something that's important that you should write down. And again, I like getting to the point. I don't like sugarcoating anything and beat around the bush, so let's get at her. Well, Lauren already said who I am and what software company I do own. Today, tonight we're going to talk about the results of using technology, like state-of-the-art software like Maxident, but the definitions of such, and I'm going to teach you a new management principle that's emerging, and those are the areas where you want to take notes. But just a little bit about us. Maxident is a brand name that we're known as. We continually put in into R&D, so we've got continual product development for safe and smart technologies. What we do is we take business acumen and fuse that with technology to create a practice management software program. Everything that we do is to make dental offices more profitable. That's the bottom line. And we've obviously been doing it right because we've been around for 35 years. So this webinar is specifically for anybody any dentist that loves technologies and wants to embrace it. Wants to use technology to maximize time and income, i.e. efficiency. Wants a forward-thinking patient perception. And in my last line, just want something to brag about amongst peers, but I'm just joking in the last line, but whatever suits your fancy. What we do well, bottom line, is we make dental practices more profitable. That's it. We focus on that, we're good at that, and we do it well. So everything that we do in our existence is to make it easier for dentists to maximize time and income, i.e. efficiency. So state-of-the-art. Having a state-of-the-art practice does not mean you have a high-income practice. There's a distinction you need to understand. I think a lot of the sales reps that have a lot of the state-of-the-art technologies and digital x-rays, and don't get me wrong, they do provide efficiencies, but it does not mean that you're a high-income practice. You might have invested a lot of money into this equipment, but you don't have patients calling you and your phone ringing off the hook, or a lineup of patients outside your door because you've got a 3D cone beam system. It just doesn't work that way. But what our practice management does is actually it boils everything, all the data down to a science. All the data down to the science, and that's what we're going to talk about. So how exactly do you become a high-income practice? What is it? I'm going to talk about this new management protocol that I had mentioned to you. And it's becoming data-driven. Data-driven are the key words. Data-driven. Everything that you have, all of the information that would typically be handwritten in a practice is handwritten information. Once you put it into a computer, it becomes data. Key thing. And you use that data to drive your practice forward. Hopefully, I can easily connect those dots for you. So let's look at what data-driven means from Wikipedia. So data-driven means that progress in an activity is compelled by data rather than intuition or personal experience. So let's put this in dental terms. Data-driven means that progress in making your office a high-income practice is compelled by data, not gut feeling, in so many words. You'll hear me say this a few times. If you talk to me one-on-one, I will continually say to you, act on fact. That's what data is. It's factual, and you can act on it. That's what our whole message is. And this is a new phenomena for management, new management style. It's not you think that you need an employee in this area just to do recalls or just to take payments or just to book appointments. It's now looking at the data, spotting the trends, and maximizing your time and efficiency using that data. Data is factual, it's concrete, and it's now inexpensive to have and learn. So again, I'm just going to sort of lean back to identifying and looking at your practice. There's two profit centers, mainly the hygiene department and restorative department. You've probably heard consultants call them different things, but basically it's two things. Your administration department or reception is your profit support department. Now, all three things have to work together. If your administration department does not have all the information they need, doesn't matter how great you are with dentistry and how great your hygiene department is, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. So all three have to work together. And again, each one of these departments has data. So what does data have to do with my income? Basically, everything. It's everything about your practice. And what Maxident does with this software program, because it's intelligently different than other systems, is it compiles this information and it takes the guesswork out. What it does is it tells you which patients need treatment, it tells your staff what actions to take. There's no more guesswork. You're acting, again, you act on fact, and you focus on doing everything dentistry, and we focus on doing everything productivity and teaching your staff what to do. We focus on growing your income using your own data. It's going to make life easier, and no more acting on gut, acting on intuition. I know I've spoken with dentists who have always, for 10, 20, 30 years, acted on intuition and gut, and they've had some good staff, but when things don't work well, they're the first ones to get an ulcer. So what I'm doing is putting factual data in front of you and telling you guys how to read this. So I'm not doing a demo of my software program, but I'm going to talk about these principles and these things that are built into Maxident. So one of the exclusive features that we have is our Maxident Never Lose a Treatment Plan system. This is for the dentist, this is for the restorative department, and basically what it does is from the electronic odonogram, it takes the treatment plans in your electronic charts, turns that into, obviously, data, and puts the data into the software, and the software generates these lists or reports of patients that need treatment. The nice thing about that is you can put a dollar figure to that. It's pretty straightforward, and you can figure out how many dollars are literally sitting there that need to get those patients need treatment. The nice thing about Maxident too is one of the things that I coined. It's one of the industry first. It's called an aged treatment plan report. Now, let me draw parallels. You have an aged accounts receivable report. All systems have that, and that's basically aging the monies that patients owe you. Well, this is aged treatment plan report for aging the treatment plans that you've created that puts that information in front of you. It's more of an internal document. So you can see if your patients have, the majority of your patients have treatment plans that are 0 to 30 days, meaning current, all those patients should have appointments. On the far end of the scale, if you have patients that have treatment plans that are older than 3 months, you can say to your receptionist or your staff, what's going on with these patients? I diagnosed that they needed these treatments, they were not done, i.e. they don't have appointments, and get them booked. The result is that you've got these treatment plans and you turn it into production. So on the other side of that, there's the Never Lose a Patient recall and appointment system, and this is for the hygiene department. And basically what this does, all software programs have a recall system. There's nothing special that's been around for 30 years. But what ours does differently is it tracks the patients that have fallen through the cracks. That's the key thing. All systems, it's a no-brainer for them to track the patients that are in there, that are in rotation. That's a given. But what about the patients that have fallen through? And our Never Lose a Patient system does that. And of course, the profit support department is the Never Lose an Insurance Approval system. And this part here is the administration side of things. And this captures all the information for insurance approvals. It instantly finds the patients that have approvals on file for a treatment plan that's outstanding that needed to be treatment planned out or pre-authorized. Another cool thing that I've had invented in our system is it finds patients with insurance approvals but no scheduled appointments. And it also does that, what it also does is if you have patients that have a policy and it's going to reset itself, say in 1 month, 2 months, 4 months, whatever the number of months is, because you put that information in, but it generates a list of the patients that have a treatment plan on file and they have an allowable limit left on their policy to cover that treatment. Your receptionist can now look at that, call the patient and say, hi patient, I see that your insurance policy is going to reset itself in January. You still have a treatment plan that hasn't been fulfilled here at our dental office. Looks like you still have an allowable limit left on your policy. Let's book an appointment to get you in and get that done before it resets in January. Plain and simple, that alone is going to boost your income. We call these our Never Lose a Patient series. It's all built into our system. So in order for you, I'm going to try and recap here. So in order for you guys to become data-driven, what you need to do it's only 2 steps in so many words, is replace your current system with Maxident, because I can say without a doubt it is going to do everything to drive your practice forward using your data. And the second part of it is getting the Goldmine training. It's one thing to get training at the start. It's another thing to get secondary training, which is Goldmine training, usually about 6 to 8 months after you first replace your current software program and turn that into dollars. If you have a new practice and you're opening a new practice, you obviously don't have to replace the system. You just get Maxident, get your initial training to get your office started, and then in about, I would probably say in about a year or so, you give us a call and you can get your Goldmine training, and basically all the patients that you have accumulated in the last year, we're going to make sure that you maximize your staff and all the efficient systems are in place for you to start maximizing your income from the get-go. So I'll tell you for a fact we're so confident in Maxident Goldmine. Guess what? I'm the first one to say we're not going to charge you for step 2, which is Goldmine training. I don't know of anybody in dentistry that is going to say we're not going to charge you for it. You'll have the option to pay for it, or we can just take a percentage of the increase in income. That's how confident we are. So what this means in so many words is that we become your partner because we want you to maximize your income because that's how we're going to get paid, plain and simple. So we are as invested in your practice as you are. So we're going to monitor, train, make sure that everything is functioning well. This is my contact information. We do have specials, of course, and that would be how to on our software itself for step 1. For step 2, again, we can talk about later. There's no cost to that if you wish. Again, I can only take about 20 offices a year. I don't take many offices. I really focus on getting these offices producing well and turning them into a high-income office. You can use this promo code and send me an email if you wish. If you want to call me at that toll-free number, my extension is 202, but it's probably easier if you just email me because if the thought strikes you on a Saturday night, I usually respond to my emails. So by all means, this wraps up my webinar, my presentation.
Thank you, Cheryl. We got a couple questions here, and I would certainly encourage people that if you have specific questions about the concepts or about Maxident, and now's a great time to ask. We do have a couple questions. What about if someone has an existing practice management software and they're concerned about how much data is going to come over? Do you guys offer any type of test conversions, or how would someone be able to figure out what's going to come over and what's not?
That's exactly what we do. What we do is obviously I'll talk to the doctor, find out where he is in his career, if he's just starting out or if he's probably going to sell or retire in the next 10 years or so. We'll take a copy of the data. We will do a test conversion at no charge and look at the data because we need to look at that too because obviously we have to plan a strategy to get you from where you are from point A to point B.
Okay. What's the typical training protocol? Because some practice management software companies, they tell you you've got to be closed down for 3 days, and who cares what they charge for the training? It's the 3 days of lost production that really is really tough for a lot of practices. Do you guys do a little more stretched out approach, or what do you normally recommend as the ideal regimen for training?
Everybody's a little bit different for the most part, and here's why. Some offices just have practice management, so to change your existing practice management to Maxident is less hours than changing a paperless office into paperless Maxident. So it all depends on the level of computerizing or computerization that is in the office now. But for the most part, my staff work weekends, like they have no problems doing that, if that's okay with the demo staff. Some offices go 12 hours of training, which is usually a day, and whether it is one day like at the end of the day and the start of the next morning or however it works, whatever works best for the office. We're pretty flexible. My staff they're not a hard Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 kind of folk.
Okay. What about image management? Someone was asking about the fact that, a lot of times you're working with multiple programs. You've got one practice management program and another one for images and another one for patient communications, and I think a lot of people are looking for a more integrated solution. What does Maxident offer as far as images go?
We have something called Maxiviewer. I'm going to use this word. It might not be a nice word, but that's what we call our bastardized system. And there's a lot of offices that have that. So with Maxident, our complete electronic office edition is practice management, charting, and images all into one. And it does an automated backup, all of that stuff. Everything is the Maxident brand, plain and simple. So nothing there isn't redundancy in different systems. Everything flows into Maxident nicely because it's all one system.
Now, does the image software work with a number of different sensors? Is it open-ended or?
Yes. Open-ended, we call it brand neutral, but it's open-ended and it works with all of the most popular systems known in North America.
Okay, well, just to verify that, just one of your clients actually just left a post that says, as an existing client for well over 20 years, we can attest to the support, which is very rarely needed, that Maxident gives us outstanding. Their integration of our Adexis intraoral and our SUNY 3D radiograph data is seamless. So
thank you very much.
that answers that question. Always nice to hear from people that actually use the software. What about reports? Because a lot of practice management software systems come with some relatively canned reports, but people want to be able to. You talk about the data-driven practice, and they obviously want to be able to massage the data and put the reports together that they want. Is there a customization available with those reports?
You can actually go in. There's something called Maxident Masks, I believe it's called. You can go in and build somewhat basic kind of reports. And I'm not technical, and when I look at this, I'm like, you have to think kind of like a programmer. My advice to you is to say, call me or call our support department and say, look, this is what I want, this is what I need, and we can go ahead and build that for you. So while there are quote canned sets of reports in the system, if you need something customized to your specific office, by all means.
Great. Now, I know you guys are based both up in Canada and in the U.S. In Canada, is there a French version available?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, that's always good to know. We don't have a ton of other questions coming in here. Is there anything else that you wanted to add at this point?
No, I think what I've learned over the years is that every dental office is different. They all do dentistry, but they're owned and managed, and they operate differently. And it's probably best to really give me a call on the first one to say, look, either we can make a difference in your practice or we can't. And if we can't, I'm the first one to say I'm sorry, and walk away, because there's no point in wasting my time and their time trying to figure this out and go through the motions. So it's probably the good place to start is to give me a call or send me an email, and we can start a conversation.
Now, what about fee guides? I know that a lot of times that depending on where people are located, that those fee guides can change on a regular basis. Is that something they're going to have to manually do, or do you guys provide those updates, or how does that whole process work?
We provide updates.
So it's
and many offices use many different fee guides, right? So we provide those updates. Sometimes several times a year, because they change during the course of the year. So by all means, that's part of the service contract.
Now, if somebody does want to get a demo of the software, should they just call the number on the screen here or email you, or what's the best way if someone wants to do that?
It just start with me. It will start and end with me, because either I'll say, look, we're going to do this together, it's going to work, or sorry, it's not going to. So it's probably good to talk to me directly, and therefore if there's anything specific and doing the data tests, if they are computerized, or to what degree are they computerized, all of those things, I'll have that candid conversation with the owner, meaning the dentist, and or the office manager, because sometimes I can have a different conversation with them if there is an office manager than the owner. So I can talk to everybody.
Now, I know that you obviously will make yourself available as long as possible, but we also know that a lot of times the dentists are busy. I mean, be honest here. If someone wants a good demo of the software, see what it can do, how much time should they block out of their schedule to be able to really get a feel for what the software can do?
I've done them myself, in as little as 15 minutes, and that's literally gleaning over everything. I would probably say an hour, and if it means, like, I know they're busy Monday to Friday during office hours. Some of them work evenings and weekends, but if somebody wants to have a demo with me in an evening or a weekend, not a problem.
Okay.
We're, like, right now we're doing this later in the evening at the end of the day, right? So I have no problems doing that whatsoever.
Okay. How would you, I mean, I don't want you to talk about specific fees, obviously, but, you know, compared to other programs out there, do you feel like you guys are low end, high end, middle of the road? You know, you can answer any way you want.
Sure. I would say that we're middle of the road. And for the value that you get, you have to keep this in mind. It's not only a support subscription and a toll-free line, and you get your updates, your FIGON updates, and et cetera, et cetera. But what we also do is we put money back into R&D. So we recently rewrote our program from the ground up, our software program, only because technology in the world has changed. And what that means is we went and it's going to change again. I'll put money on that and bet on that. But things like smartphones and tablets came out. Like, that wasn't really the main pieces of technology in the last, I don't know, 5 or 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's the adoption of that and the acceptance of that is at gained speed. So we're constantly putting into R&D, plain and simple. So our customers that have been with us get that upgrade for free, whereas I'm talking to a lot of offices that don't have Maxident, and they are actually faced with a technology challenge, and they don't know which way to go. There's some companies touting cloud. There's other ones that, like Microsoft, no longer supports XP, and very soon it's very hard to get Windows 7. Not many people want Windows 8, and now all of a sudden they announce that they're going to Windows 10. Well, you try and keep up with that as a dentist. You're busy enough. So what we do is we make sure we invest in safe technologies, and we do our R&D and our testing for them. So, and that's all part of the subscription. I don't charge extra for that. We always want to be the best, and we want to give our dentists the best.
Now, what about if someone, obviously, you know, most of my clients come to me if they have specific questions about computers and networks, but would you be able to advise someone as well if you know, they're thinking about the software? And, you know, we don't normally recommend that an office put modern software on 6, 7-year-old computers running XP, for example, but can you help guide them if they have specific questions about the hardware and the networking?
Of course.
Okay. What about data backup? You know, is there anything built into the software that would allow them some functionality with that?
That's a very good question. We're one of the few companies that does this. We do 2 things. There's something called MaxiSave. It's an hourly backup built into the software. So it backs up every hour, and it usually keeps an archive of the last 5 backups within the day. So most offices are open, you know, 8 hours, 12 hours a day, depending on where you are. So it will always have a log of the last 5 backups. That's an automatic internal backup. And then at the end of the day, you have something called MaxiVault, which is an online offsite automated backup, which basically does a backup and sends an email to the dentist or the office manager, whomever they want that email to go to, and says, look, your data was successfully backed up. It took 37 seconds, and you have this much space left in your account, or whatever. You know what I mean? It gives you all the stats. So there is an internal automatic backup, and there's a day-end automatic backup that we can set to happen at, oh, I don't know, 11:30 at night if we want, and you get an email. If that system fails, the automated backup system fails, we actually get an email notifying us that your backup failed. So we're monitoring it as well. So usually dentists will get to the office or wake up the next morning, open up their email, see that it's failed, but we're already on it. So there's no need to panic. We've got everything handled.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, we're getting to the end of the questions here. Cheryl, I want to thank you so much. You know, we always learn a lot from you, you know, not just conceptually, but obviously about your specific system. We have a number of our clients who are Maxident users, both here in the U.S. and Canada. It's extremely rare for us to ever hear any complaints or any issues that people had. You know, just raving fans out there about the system. And certainly, I would advise people that if you're in the market for a new practice management software, if you're thinking, hey, we've been using our current software forever, but we're not seeing a return on investment, it seems like it's not doing what we want it to do, give Cheryl a call, email her, get a demo. I mean, what does it hurt? As she said, in 15 to 30 minutes, you can at least get a feel for what the software can do, what it can handle, and I don't think you'll regret it. So, Cheryl, thank you again for joining us.
Welcome. Very good. Thank you.
Many of you know that we do these webinars on a regular basis, and we certainly have future webinars coming up. Most of you are on the list. I think we've got one tomorrow on implants. We're going to be talking about cloud computing later in the week. We've got upcoming webinars on sleep apnea and more on implants. And most of you who are on the call tonight, like I said, are on my invitation list, and I'll make sure that those go out as well. When you sign out, if you are interested in getting a demo of Maxident, you just want to talk to Cheryl and pick her brains, you want to talk to me, just indicate that it's only 2 questions on the survey, so just answer either one of those 2 questions. We'll make sure that we follow up with you. The CE forms will go out. The recording will go out as well. We certainly know that your time is valuable, and we thank all of you for joining us. We thank Cheryl for a great presentation. It's short and to the sweet and to the point, and we certainly will look forward to bringing her back in a few months. And again, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all on future webinars. Good night, everyone.